In a world torn apart by conflict and displacement, the story of the Aziz family is a reminder that even the darkest times can give way to hope. Separated by war, their dream of reunion seemed impossible until one unexpected ally, Cristiano Ronaldo, used his global platform to turn their story into a symbol of resilience and compassion. This is the extraordinary tale of how one man's commitment sparked a journey that reunited a family, proving that sometimes all it takes is a little help from those who care. Displacement due to war is one of the most harrowing experiences a family can endure. When conflict erupts, entire communities are torn apart as people are forced to flee their homes to escape violence, destruction, and the loss of basic necessities like food, water, and shelter. For millions around the world, this displacement means leaving behind not only their homes but also their livelihoods, possessions, and sometimes even their loved ones. Families are often separated in the chaos of evacuations, with individuals scattered across refugee camps, foreign countries, or even hidden in the wilderness, struggling to survive. In many cases, displacement becomes a prolonged state, as refugees find themselves unable to return home due to the continuing violence or the destruction of their communities. Living in makeshift camps or temporary shelters, they face constant challenges such as lack of access to education, healthcare, and employment opportunities. This lack of stability takes a severe emotional toll, especially on children who are deprived of a sense of normalcy and safety. The uncertainty about the future, the anguish of not knowing whether loved ones are alive or where they are, and the trauma of witnessing the horrors of war are just some of the overwhelming burdens that displaced families carry. The plight of displaced families also often includes the struggle to reunite with missing relatives. The chaos of war and the disintegration of social and familial structures make it incredibly difficult for families to stay in touch. Many families are torn apart in different directions, with no clear way to find each other. The physical and emotional distance grows each day, leaving people in a constant state of longing and uncertainty. In these circumstances, the act of reuniting becomes more than just a reunion. It becomes a lifeline, a symbol of hope that even in the darkest of times, there remains the possibility of rebuilding one's life. This backdrop of suffering and separation underscores the significance of efforts made by organizations and individuals to help displaced families reunite. Whether through humanitarian aid, technology, or personal initiatives, every effort to reconnect families brings with it a sense of hope and renewal in a world that often feels indifferent to their plight. The Aziz family's journey represents the harsh reality faced by countless families displaced by war. Originally from a region in the Middle East, the Aziz family lived a peaceful life until the outbreak of conflict tore their community apart. Like so many others, they were forced to flee their home as violence spread through their town. The family, consisting of the parents, 2 children, and elderly grandparents, found themselves in a constant state of fear and uncertainty. They left behind their house, their neighbors, and their life as they knew it, hoping to find safety in a refugee camp or a neighboring country. Upon arriving at a refugee camp in a neighboring country, the Aziz family faced the challenges of survival in a foreign land. The camp was overcrowded, with families living in tents or makeshift shelters, with little access to clean water, food, or medical supplies. In this difficult environment, the Aziz family tried to rebuild their lives, but the ongoing uncertainty about their future loomed over them. The father, Ahmad Aziz, struggled to find work, while his wife, Layla, focused on caring for their 2 children, Omar and Zainab, who were both traumatized by the events they had witnessed. The elderly grandparents, who had been unable to walk due to health issues, were further isolated and dependent on the family for support. However, the most heartbreaking part of their story was the separation that occurred during their flight from the war zone. Amid the chaos of the journey, Ahmad and Layla became separated from their elderly parents, who had been sent to a different camp in another country. Communication was limited, and the family's search for each other became an emotional and physical ordeal. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, but there was no news about the grandparents' whereabouts. For Ahmad and Layla, the fear of losing their parents forever was compounded by the ongoing struggles to ensure their own children's well-being. Despite their hardships, the Aziz family maintained hope. They found solace in each other, trying to keep their spirits high amidst the bleakness surrounding them. The children, though young, held on to the memory of their grandparents and often asked their parents when they would be able to see them again. Ahmad and Layla, though heartbroken, reassured them that they would do everything in their power to reunite with their loved ones. The emotional toll on the family was immense, but their unwavering determination to remain united drove them to push forward, keeping their hope alive even in the face of overwhelming odds. Their story, like so many others, illustrates the immense challenges faced by families caught in the horrors of war and the desperate need for support and compassion in such trying times. Cristiano Ronaldo is widely recognized for his exceptional football talent, but beyond his accomplishments on the field, he has also made a significant impact through his humanitarian efforts. Over the years, Ronaldo has used his fame and wealth to bring attention to social issues, particularly those affecting vulnerable populations, such as children, the homeless, and refugees. His personal connection to humanitarian causes stems from a deep sense of empathy and a desire to use his platform to make a positive difference in the world. Ronaldo's commitment to humanitarian work began early in his career. Raised in humble circumstances in Madeira, Portugal, Ronaldo understands the value of hard work and the importance of giving back to those in need. As he rose to fame, he never forgot his roots, and the struggles of others resonated with him. One of his first major philanthropic actions was his support for hospitals and medical research. He has made numerous charitable donations to hospitals, particularly those focusing on children's health, and he has personally visited sick children to bring them joy and hope. One of the key aspects of Ronaldo's humanitarian work is his active involvement in causes related to global displacement. Ronaldo has long been an advocate for refugees and displaced persons, recognizing the human suffering caused by war and natural disasters. His work with international organizations such as Save the Children and UNICEF has helped raise awareness about the plight of refugees around the world. He has participated in campaigns to raise funds for humanitarian aid and has used his social media presence to amplify the voices of those who are often overlooked by the global community. In addition to his involvement with established organizations, Ronaldo has also taken personal initiative to directly support refugees and displaced families. He has visited refugee camps, where he has met with displaced families and individuals, offering both material and emotional support. His visits to these camps have brought international media attention, highlighting the dire conditions many refugees face and urging people to contribute to relief efforts. Through these actions, Ronaldo has consistently shown that his concern for others goes beyond charity. It's about fostering a deeper connection and making a long-term impact on the lives of the people he helps. Ronaldo's involvement in humanitarian causes also extends to his own personal network. He has been known to assist individuals directly, whether it's through personal donations or helping specific families in need. This personal touch is what sets Ronaldo apart from many other public figures who may contribute to charity but don't engage as deeply on a personal level. His ability to connect with the stories of displaced families and offer tangible help is one of the reasons he was so moved by the Aziz family's plight. For Ronaldo, helping others isn't just about writing a check or lending his name to a cause. It's about actively being involved and making a real, lasting difference in people's lives. His empathy and dedication to humanitarian causes make it no surprise that Ronaldo would take immediate action upon hearing the story of the Aziz family. His background in philanthropy, combined with his genuine concern for those suffering around the world, drove him to help reunite the Aziz family after they were displaced by war. In a world where millions of stories of suffering and displacement often go unnoticed, the story of the Aziz family managed to break through the noise and capture the attention of Cristiano Ronaldo. The family's harrowing journey, marked by the separation of loved ones due to war, was shared through various channels, news reports, social media posts, and advocacy campaigns aimed at raising awareness about the plight of refugees. These stories are not uncommon, but what made the Aziz family's story stand out was its raw emotional appeal and the perseverance of the family in their search for each other, despite the overwhelming challenges they faced. The story reached Ronaldo in a way that highlighted the power of modern communication. With his immense global following on social media platforms like Instagram and Twitter, Ronaldo regularly interacts with a wide range of causes, organizations, and individual stories that resonate with him. The Aziz family's plight was shared by a number of humanitarian organizations that Ronaldo has supported over the years, and it caught his eye when it was posted on his feeds and those of prominent refugee advocacy groups. The heartbreaking images of a family torn apart by war and the desperation of a father trying to reunite with his parents reached Ronaldo, stirring a deep emotional response. As someone who has always been outspoken about his commitment to charitable causes, Ronaldo saw this as more than just another news story. He saw it as a call to action. His connection to the cause was personal, as he had witnessed firsthand the human cost of conflict during his visits to refugee camps in the past. Ronaldo knew the challenges of displacement well and recognized that many families, like the Aziz family, were not just seeking refuge, but also desperately trying to reconnect with their loved ones. The emotional weight of the Aziz family's story, combined with Ronaldo's long-standing commitment to humanitarian work, pushed him to take immediate action. Through a series of communications with aid organizations and individuals close to the family's case, Ronaldo's team began working to gather more information about the Aziz family's whereabouts. Using the power of his public platform and his network of partners in various humanitarian organizations, Ronaldo's team reached out to those directly involved with the Aziz family's case. What followed was a series of discussions between Ronaldo, the organizations helping displaced families, and local authorities to determine how they could track down the missing family members and reunite them. This initial contact was pivotal in the process, not only because it brought much-needed attention to the Aziz family's plight, but also because it signaled a shift from passive awareness to active involvement. Ronaldo's high-profile engagement created momentum, inspiring other people and organizations to lend their support and resources. What started as a story of despair quickly gained traction, attracting the attention of global media outlets and humanitarian groups who joined forces to assist in the search for the missing grandparents. Ronaldo's involvement effectively turned the story into a symbol of hope, showing that even in the darkest times, compassion and collective action could offer a way forward. For the Aziz family, hearing that Ronaldo was personally taking an interest in their case provided a glimmer of hope. The family had grown accustomed to the uncertainty of their situation, but the prospect of reuniting with their elderly parents seemed like an impossible dream. Yet, with Ronaldo's intervention, that dream slowly started to materialize into a possibility, making it clear that someone powerful was not only listening to their story, but was willing to move mountains to help make their reunion a reality. Once Cristiano Ronaldo became aware of the Aziz family's heartbreaking situation, he did not simply passively offer his support or send a donation. He actively committed himself to ensuring the family was reunited. This was not a fleeting act of charity or a one-time gesture of goodwill, but a focused and persistent effort from Ronaldo to use his platform, resources, and influence to make a meaningful difference in the lives of the Aziz family. His deep empathy for displaced families, rooted in his previous humanitarian work, fueled his determination to help the Aziz family reconnect with their loved ones. Ronaldo's commitment began with direct communication with the family and the organizations that were working to assist displaced people. Recognizing that the search for the missing grandparents was not just a matter of logistics, but an emotional, deeply personal quest, Ronaldo took the time to understand the full scope of the family's situation. He learned about the challenges they faced in the refugee camp, the limited resources available, and the complicated process of locating individuals who had been moved across borders during the chaos of war. For Ronaldo, this wasn't just about offering financial assistance or leveraging his fame. It was about becoming personally involved in the mission to help this specific family reunite. His team began coordinating with various international NGOs, government agencies, and local authorities to trace the grandparents. Given the complex and fragmented nature of refugee networks, finding individuals in different camps or countries required meticulous planning, careful diplomacy, and persistence. Ronaldo's team reached out to contacts in the countries where the grandparents were believed to have been relocated, working closely with aid organizations that had a presence on the ground. They were committed to using every available resource, logistical support, connections, and technology to track down the elderly couple, often relying on refugee registration databases, field workers, and even local refugee advocates to help narrow down potential locations. Throughout the process, Ronaldo remained actively involved, providing not only financial resources but also moral support. His celebrity status, while undoubtedly influential in raising awareness, was used strategically to apply pressure on officials and organizations to expedite the search. Ronaldo's high-profile involvement gave the effort an added sense of urgency, attracting media attention and public interest. This public focus brought additional attention to the plight of displaced families like the Aziz family, encouraging people and organizations around the world to contribute their efforts toward finding missing relatives. In addition to logistical support, Ronaldo also provided the Aziz family with emotional encouragement. The psychological toll of displacement, particularly the uncertainty of being separated from loved ones, is immense. Ronaldo understood that, beyond the physical reunion, the family needed to maintain hope through a process that could have easily been discouraging. His involvement provided the family with a sense of comfort and assurance that they were not alone in their struggle. His consistent communication with them reassured Ahmad and Layla that they were not just another case in a long list of displaced families, but that they had a strong ally who was invested in their well-being and determined to help them achieve their dream of reuniting. The level of commitment Ronaldo displayed in this process exemplified the kind of active and hands-on approach that has defined much of his humanitarian work. He was determined to do whatever was necessary, whether that meant leveraging his influence, donating to organizations, or personally following up on the progress of the search. His dedication to the Aziz family's cause went beyond a simple act of charity. It was a full commitment to the family's welfare, showing that Ronaldo's passion for helping displaced families was deeply rooted in a personal desire to bring lasting change to their lives. The effort to reunite the Aziz family was not a simple task. Once Cristiano Ronaldo had committed to helping them, the challenge of tracing the missing family members, particularly the elderly grandparents, began. The world of refugees and displaced persons is fragmented and often chaotic, especially in war-torn regions. Families like the Aziz family are often dispersed across multiple countries, sent to different camps, and sometimes even relocated several times. This made the process of tracking down the missing grandparents particularly complicated. But Ronaldo's team, determined to help, set out to navigate this intricate web of displacement, pulling together resources and contacts from various humanitarian networks. The first major step in the process was identifying where the Aziz family's elderly grandparents had been relocated. When families are separated during crises, the process of redistributing displaced persons across different camps and regions is often disorganized and sometimes lacks proper communication. This lack of coordination between refugee camps, government agencies, and humanitarian organizations meant that even something as basic as tracking the movement of individuals could become a massive undertaking. With no centralized database for refugee relocation in some cases, Ronaldo's team had to rely on a combination of eyewitness reports, refugee registration systems, and local networks to try and piece together the journey of the Aziz grandparents. The team's efforts involved reaching out to multiple organizations that provide support to displaced people, including UNHCR, the United Nations Refugee Agency, and various NGOs that operate in the regions where refugees are most concentrated. These organizations maintain records of displaced families and can sometimes provide assistance in locating missing relatives. Ronaldo's team worked closely with these agencies, leveraging their resources and personnel on the ground. Field workers and aid workers were contacted to help identify any potential leads on the whereabouts of the grandparents, especially considering their elderly age and health concerns, which may have influenced their relocation to a particular camp or area. In parallel, Ronaldo's team coordinated with the local governments of the countries where the grandparents were believed to be. The complex process of coordinating with multiple countries' refugee systems required diplomacy and careful negotiations to ensure the information was shared efficiently and safely. The bureaucracy involved in such processes can be daunting and time-consuming, but Ronaldo's involvement added urgency to the situation. With his name and resources behind the effort, there was increased motivation to expedite the search and ensure that all possible avenues were pursued to find the missing relatives. As the search continued, Ronaldo's team also took advantage of technology. Modern tools such as social media, refugee tracing apps, and digital communication systems were used to spread the word about the missing grandparents. This allowed the search to extend beyond official channels, reaching individuals and communities who might have seen the grandparents or heard of their situation. While social media alone would not have been enough to track down the elderly couple, it played a crucial role in raising awareness, garnering public attention, and creating a broader network of support for the Aziz family. Despite the numerous obstacles, the determination to reunite the Aziz family never wavered. Ronaldo's team remained in constant communication with the family, keeping them informed on the progress of the search. The Aziz family, though weary and often uncertain of the outcome, found solace in knowing that every effort was being made to bring them back together. As weeks passed, new leads began to emerge. Small pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place, bringing the team closer to locating the grandparents. The effort to trace the family members was a complex and demanding process that involved collaboration across borders, constant communication with humanitarian organizations, and the use of both traditional methods and modern technology. It highlighted the difficulties that displaced families face in a world where information is fragmented and difficult to obtain. The persistence and resourcefulness shown by Ronaldo's team in the search for the Aziz family's grandparents were critical in ultimately making the reunion possible. After weeks of coordination, investigation, and tireless effort, the breakthrough finally came. With the combined efforts of Cristiano Ronaldo's team, humanitarian organizations, and government agencies, they were able to locate the elderly grandparents of the Aziz family, who had been moved to a refugee camp in a neighboring country. The news was a moment of immense relief and joy for the Aziz family, who had been living in a state of constant uncertainty and emotional turmoil, desperately hoping to be reunited. For Ahmad and Layla, the pain of not knowing where their parents were and whether they were even alive had been an unbearable burden. But now, thanks to the dedication and commitment of those involved, their long-awaited reunion was finally within reach. The reunion was carefully planned to ensure the safety and well-being of everyone involved. The logistics of moving the grandparents from one camp to another across international borders required careful coordination with local authorities, aid workers, and officials. Ronaldo's involvement in this process ensured that the family's journey was given the highest priority. With his influence and the attention his efforts had garnered, the necessary arrangements were expedited. The crossing of borders, the transfer between camps, and the final steps of bringing the grandparents back to their family required close cooperation among multiple agencies and organizations, but all efforts were geared toward achieving the same goal: reuniting the Aziz family. For the Aziz family, the moment of reunion was deeply emotional. When Ahmad and Layla were informed that they would soon be reunited with their parents, they were overwhelmed with tears of joy and disbelief. The children, Omar and Zainab, who had heard stories of their grandparents but hadn't seen them for so long, were ecstatic. The grandparents, too, who had been through their own hardships in the refugee camp, were equally moved by the news. The separation had been incredibly difficult for all of them, but now they would be together again, providing each other with the emotional support and comfort they had all been yearning for. The actual reunion took place in a heartwarming scene, captured by news outlets and humanitarian organizations that had been following the story. As the grandparents arrived at the refugee camp where the rest of the Aziz family had been living, emotions ran high. There were hugs, tears, and laughter, as each family member embraced the other, not knowing when or if they would ever see one another again. This emotional moment was not just a personal triumph for the Aziz family, but a powerful symbol of hope for other displaced families around the world who were facing similar struggles. It reminded everyone involved that, even in the face of overwhelming adversity, the power of human connection and compassion could make all the difference. Ronaldo's role in this reunion went far beyond that of a celebrity or philanthropist. His personal commitment to the Aziz family's well-being and his unwavering dedication to helping them reunite turned the story from one of loss and despair into one of triumph and healing. The media coverage of the reunion brought global attention not only to the Aziz family story, but also to the broader issue of displaced families and refugees around the world. Ronaldo used his platform to bring awareness to the plight of millions of refugees who are separated from their loved ones, often with no means of reuniting. The success of the Aziz family's reunion demonstrated that with persistence, resources, and compassion, it is possible to make a difference in the lives of those who have suffered the most. For the Aziz family, the reunion marked the end of a long and painful chapter in their lives. But it was also the beginning of a new chapter, one in which they could rebuild together as a family in safety. The trauma they had endured was far from forgotten, but the act of being reunited with their loved ones brought them a sense of closure and a renewed sense of hope for the future. They were no longer just a statistic or a nameless family displaced by war. They were a living testament to the power of human resilience and the possibility of reuniting loved ones even in the most difficult circumstances. Their story, helped by Ronaldo's involvement, became an inspiring example of how compassion and determination can lead to remarkable outcomes. The successful reunion of the Aziz family was not just a heartwarming personal victory, but a powerful reminder of the broader, more pressing issue of global displacement and the urgent need for humanitarian intervention. Cristiano Ronaldo's involvement in helping the Aziz family was not merely an isolated act of kindness. It highlighted the impact that one individual, leveraging their platform, can have on raising awareness about critical global challenges. His efforts turned a personal story of loss and hope into a larger conversation about refugees, displacement, and the responsibilities of the international community to respond with compassion and action. The story resonated on a global scale, as it demonstrated that, even amid the chaos and despair of war, there is always hope for reuniting families and restoring their lives. For many displaced families, especially those who have been separated from loved ones during the turmoil of conflict, the idea of reunion often feels like an impossible dream. The Aziz family's reunion served as a beacon of hope, proving that such reunions are possible with the right combination of resources, determination, and international cooperation. The involvement of a globally recognized figure like Ronaldo gave this message even more power, showing that those in positions of influence have an important role to play in addressing humanitarian crises. Beyond just providing emotional relief to the Aziz family, Ronaldo's efforts also raised awareness about the practical steps needed to address refugee crises more effectively. His personal commitment to tracking down the missing grandparents and facilitating their reunion shone a light on the challenges that humanitarian organizations face when trying to locate and reunite separated families. The lack of proper infrastructure, communication barriers, and bureaucratic hurdles all became apparent in the course of this effort. At the same time, the collaboration between humanitarian agencies, governments, and private individuals like Ronaldo demonstrated the potential of collective action. It emphasized that solving such complex problems requires both a coordinated international response and a deep personal commitment from individuals who are willing to use their resources and influence for good. Moreover, Ronaldo's intervention helped shine a light on the plight of millions of refugees who remain displaced around the world. The global refugee crisis, exacerbated by ongoing conflicts, political instability, and climate change, continues to affect millions of people. The Aziz family's reunion drew attention to the human cost of these crises, reminding people that each statistic, each displaced person, is a person with a family, a story, and a future that can be shaped by the kindness and actions of others. By engaging directly with the Aziz family story, Ronaldo not only provided support, but also helped mobilize the public and encourage a more empathetic and proactive approach to humanitarian issues. For Ronaldo, the experience also reinforced the importance of using his fame and resources for the greater good. Throughout his career, he has been known for his charitable work, but his direct involvement in such a personal and impactful case served as a testament to the deep empathy that drives his philanthropy. His role in the Aziz family story is a powerful reminder that while fame and wealth can often be used to elevate one's career or lifestyle, they can also be a force for positive change in the world. Ronaldo's actions encouraged others in similar positions of influence to consider the responsibility they have to support vulnerable populations and promote causes that transcend borders and political boundaries. In the end, the Aziz family's reunion became a powerful symbol of how individuals, even those from different corners of the world, can come together to bring about change. It exemplified how one person's efforts, combined with the support of the global community, can create tangible, life-changing results for those in desperate need. For the Aziz family, it was the end of a long, painful journey and the beginning of a new chapter. But for others facing similar challenges, the message was clear. No matter how dire the circumstances, there is always hope, and collective action can change lives. The story of Ronaldo's help in reuniting the Aziz family continues to inspire and encourage efforts to address the global refugee crisis and to highlight the power of compassion, determination, and human connection.